Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea from Makadrez.com. Today we are sitting here with Chelsea Miller. How are you today?
I'm feeling good. How are you?
I am good. Thank you for asking. Chelsea Miller is the co-founder of the amazing platform for young women named Webeleive. Could you let us know about what you're doing with Webeleive?
Yes, so Webeleive is an intergenerational organization dedicated to training and connecting the next generation of women leaders. We do that by centering the voices of women and girls of color. Currently the fastest organization of its kind, growing nationwide. We're at 13 universities across 7 states, and we're expanding to 30 universities this year.
What I realized as I was doing my research on you, of course, you started this about 3 years ago, correct?
Yeah,
in 2015.
2 years ago.
And literally, you have over 10 chapters now.
Yeah.
So how exactly did you do that? Because that was like, whoa, when I saw it.
Yeah, so it was honestly through a lot of word of mouth, a lot of people understanding what our mission was, and I think a lot of women of color were feeling frustrated that they didn't really have the spaces on their campuses to create these types of discussions and conversations and doing the work in the community, and so it was the need that was there. And so people just got excited about it, and we were like, come on board.
So Webeleive is mainly focused on helping women in college, basically.
Yes and no. So the way that our leadership pipeline works, it starts as old as women professionals already in their careers, established, who are interested in giving back. We have our college women who we train. We develop their professional and personal skills, but we also train them to go into communities and create programs for middle school girls. And so all of our chapters work with middle schools on 8-week curriculums every single year where they go in and they do these programs, and it ranges from STEM to beauty, where they learn the science of ethnic hair, design their own natural hair care products, to Finance 101, we call it Money Moves, where they have their own fake jobs, right, and learning about investing and saving. So it's really exciting, and really what our focus is really ensuring that we can continue to do those programs in middle schools by training as many college women as possible.
That curriculum is really interesting because the STEM to Beauty, from what I realized, what I've read, it trains women to get your start in entrepreneurship, which is amazing to me. So what basically inspired you to incorporate that within your curriculum?
So honestly, for us, it's really important to tap into the agency of young girls. I think a lot of times they exist in these spaces where they're constantly, their voices, right, are being ignored or isolated or feeling as though they don't really have the people around them to really affirm their interests and their passion. And so for us, it's important that, yes, we are training the next generation of civic and corporate leaders, but guess what? If you don't find a space that fits you, then create your own. And so that's why it's important for us to incorporate that entrepreneurship aspect, because we are entrepreneurs, right? This organization was birthed from the need to address what's going on in our communities. And so we have a lot of college women within the leadership pipeline who want to start their own organizations one day. We have a lot of young girls that are like, I don't even really want to do any of this. I kind of just want to become a singer. And we're like, okay, no problem. You want to be a singer, but just be the best that you can be, right? And so not necessarily telling them what their future should look like, but rather giving them the skills that they need to be the best at whatever that is.
So from your observation of the program, what have you seen the women that you do that are in this program, what do they mainly attract to within the program that causes the biggest change to them in their life?
I would say it's a lot of things, but our annual conference is the biggest one. They love going to the conference. It's typically 2 days. We have it at Columbia University, and we bring together women leaders from all over the country to really engage in these conversations around trauma, healing, affirmation, leadership, and it's incredible to see how all of them can come together and really create this space and empower one another. And so all of our chapters come every year, but we open it up to women within the New York City area as well. So there's women who come who this is their first time engaging with Webeleive, and they're like, oh my gosh, I never knew that this existed, right? How can I get involved? And so that's really exciting. This past year, We had corporate sponsors. We had the creator of the Me Too movement, Tarana Burke, who came to our gala. And it was crazy because some of the women in our leadership pipeline, they ended up leaving with her after the gala in their heels and dresses to go protest an R. Kelly concert.
Wow. That is experience right there.
In the cold. It was January. I was like, wow, see, I'm proud of y'all.
So what inspired this? Because from Webeleive is essentially your idea, correct?
So yes and no. So I do have a co-founder. Her name is Akuya Obenga-Kofi, and she is an athlete. We met through Columbia University, and so we very much so complement each other. I'm very like big picture, visionary, right? Where she is very much so like practical, logistical. How do we get this done? And so it's been really interesting to see how we've worked together on really manifesting and creating it. But she really took control over that positive mindset to success development curriculum. She's the creator of the financial literacy curriculum.
Amazing.
Because she is an athlete, and so a lot of the time she speaks about the importance of your mentality, right? When you go onto the track, she competes in track. One of the things that she talks about is that, like a lot of it is your mindset and how you go into it. Because if you get distracted by the people around you, then you're not going to be able to achieve and attain your goals. And so she participated in the Olympics in 2016. She's a part of the Ghana Olympic team, and she's training for 2020 now.
Wow,
yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and so we met through Columbia, and so that's really her strength area, right? Whereas me, again, like that big picture, social justice oriented, my background is in criminal justice reform. I interned during the Obama White House working on that, worked at the New York City Council, the New York State Unified Court System. Just yesterday, I was upstate at a women's prison talking about, a lot of these issues, and a lot of them are coming out, and what does that look like? They're interested in getting involved in Webeleive. So I would say that's really my focus area, right? Like civic engagement, and how do we ensure that their voices are being heard? So it's really interesting to see like how we have like mold our passion, and then now with our expansion of our team to now being at 10, to now including 10 members, it's just going to be really interesting to see what it looks like.
So how do you make your connections to build your board? Because I'm pretty sure everybody on the board has to bring a little something to the team.
Yeah, building a board it's a challenge. I would say for anyone trying to like create an organization or like even a company, you need to have advisors. You need to have people to compliment you where you can't necessarily be able to do certain things. And so some of our board of directors, we've known them for over 2 years, and we just finalized them being on the board, because it's also not something you want to do with haste. You need to really think about what do you want your board to look like, and how can people add value. And so we have people who have had like over a decade of experience working in corporate America, who have managed budgets of like over $1 million, right? Who've done fundraising, organizational management, all of that. But now, those are the people that I'm accountable to, right? That when they're like, we need to know what this data is looking like, we need to know what the impact measurements are looking like you can't run circles around them, And so that's good for me, because I think for the longest I was leading the team, and it's kind of like you never want to be the person that knows the most in the room. You're doing a disservice to yourself. And so it's nice to finally have women that, again, they're like, Chelsea, you need to get this in order. And I'm like, okay. So they give me homework. And in turn, I'm able to give the team homework, and make sure that we're being as efficient as possible, because that's what's important. The girls that we're serving, they need that. So yeah, it's been a long journey of getting our board of directors, but I'm really excited to see the energy that comes from doing that.
So what have been your biggest inspiration to keep you motivated in doing Webeleive? Because I'm pretty sure it takes a lot out of you. Not only you, your partners, and your board running this company, running this organization, especially with 10 chapters located in, I'm pretty sure, 10 different states, correct? Or are they all in
it's
New York?
13 chapters across 7 different states.
Do you do Webeleive full-time, or do you have a different job?
So I'm currently a student at Columbia University, so I'll be graduating in May with a degree in political science.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm so happy. I'm on the countdown, 50 days or something like that. But I have an offer that I accepted to work at Unilever after graduation. So Unilever, the parent company of like Dove, Lipton, now Shea Moisture, they acquired it. And I'll be working on a lot of their community impact initiatives and like nonprofits that they've partnered with, and really issues that very much so connect to the problems that I'm trying to solve through Webeleive. They were actually one of our sponsors for the conference. So it's really interesting how kind of like the worlds mold together. But all that to say, yes, it definitely is tiring, but worth it. And I would say there's a few things that keep me motivated, but one of them being the first time that we did the pilot program of the middle school mentorship and after school program. And I think it was week 6 where we were talking to the girls, and the theme was relationships and self-esteem. And so one of the things that we asked them was, where's the first place that you learned how to love? And that's when they started sharing their experiences, some of them being in the foster care system, some of them having parents who were incarcerated.
Middle school children.
Middle school girls.
That's a strong question to ask a middle schooler.
It definitely is.
It's a really strong question.
But they answered it, right? And they really thought about it. And it took a while to get to that point, too. I mean, this is 6 weeks into the program of us getting to know them and build those relationships. And so I think in us creating that safe space for them to really think about it, you know, because it is important. Because what we told them was that where you learn how to love influences how you love other people, you know. And so you need to be able to understand that, and you have to understand that early, because what ends up happening is that hurt people. And so if you don't know where that hurt is coming from, then you will never have that opportunity to really fix and grow from that. And so all of that to say, they were really opening up during that day. Some of them was sharing their experiences of sexual assault and trauma. And for us, that was a lot, right? Because we're sitting in this room with these young, vibrant, beautiful girls who have so much potential, and you never want them to feel as though, one, like they are not loved, they are not affirmed, but also that their dreams don't matter, because they do, you know. And so for me, it was like, okay, we did this program, this is great, but there are so many other girls who need this, who need this community, who need this sisterhood, and who need to also be equipped to the school with the skills needed to drive whatever change they want. And so whenever I think about, okay, we're expanding, okay, we're doing this, okay, we're doing that, I take myself back to that room, because that's what drives it, right? It's not really about the conference is important, and, you know, like the work that we do is important, and the publicity and all of that is important. What it comes down to is like those really intimate moments where you see that you're changing people's lives. And so for me, that's what keeps the momentum going. And we're excited. We're also working on another initiative, which is this digital platform that we're creating for women who aren't in college, or maybe don't have chapters in their cities, that they can use this digital platform where they'll have access to mentors, events that are going on near them, learning modules where they'll be able to develop their leadership skills online through a reduced membership fee, and they'll have access to all of that, right? And so our goal is to reach 20,000 women by 2018. And so we'll be releasing that platform by the end of this year. So
what does that platform mean?
Webeleive. So it'll be able to be accessed on the Webeleive website. You'll have your login code. You'll be a part of the leadership pipeline. And what's also really great about it is that as a member of the leadership pipeline, that you'll also have voting privileges, right? So when there's annually, we'll be releasing reports and different, essentially like target initiatives that we'll be working on, and like you can vote on things that you want to be in your city. You can vote on things that you think should be a priority for the organization every year. So also, again, that affirming of like your voice and really making sure that you're staying informed about what's going on and how you can get involved in that.
When was that moment that you believe you saw and you're like, I'm really onto something right here? When was that moment?
Really onto something. I don't know. It's like weird, because it's like people really gravitate towards Webeleive, and I think that like I'm still in that phase of trying to figure it out, like when that moment was.
Really, are you?
No, I really am. Like,
because what you're saying right now seems like you had a lot of moments when you're like, damn, I'm really helping her. I didn't even realize.
Yeah, so I feel that, but I think for me, I'm also coming from the perspective of understanding how challenging it is, especially within the first 3 to 5 years, for nonprofits to be sustainable. And so I'm in that phase of like, yes, we're picking up momentum. Yes, this is amazing, but always looking at we need more. There's always more that we can be doing. And so I think I'm very hard on myself in that way, where I'm like, yeah, like the work that we're doing is great. It's incredible and it's driving change. And I'm excited that we're the fastest growing organization of our kind nationwide. But I also know that that's not enough. And I think we live in a social media age where like things happen very quickly. And so my biggest focus is ensuring that yes, things are happening very quickly, but also we have the organizational infrastructure in place. We have the funds financially, like we are sound. All of this is set up so that we can continue to do the work that we're doing, because the last thing I want is to flatline, you know? And so for me, it's really important to consistently just like strategize on like what's next. And so I don't think I spent enough time thinking about where we are now, which I don't know if maybe that's like me just always being like big picture, but yeah, no, like I'm excited.
So what are some of the biggest challenges you face so far?
So in terms of our organization, I would say the biggest challenge has been our team really being able to manage so much of the moving parts, right? Because we have our chapters, we have our board of directors, we have partnerships, we have the annual conference that we plan. Especially during conference season, we are trying to manage close to 500 people coming on campus, and most of our team is spread out all across the U.S. So we have people in like Philly, we have people in D.C., we have people in New York, right? So everyone coming together to organize that. I mean, around conference time, we are putting in around like 60, 70 hours a week, really like pushing it out, right? Making sure that we're giving the most optimal product and service to the people who are coming in. And of course, like being subsidized is really important too. So everything that we do at a reduced price to ensure access, because that's really important. We never want to feel like we're creating something that's not inaccessible to the people who look like us, right? And so that's really important, and that comes at a price, right? But it's exciting because I also think that it opens up opportunities for more people to be involved, because they're like, oh, this is affordable and I can be a part of this organization that's doing incredible work, like sign me up. And we have a lot of moms who are like, how do I get my daughter involved? We have a lot of college students who's just like, can I please just like learn from all of you? Can I get the resources? Can I do all of this? We have people who want to start chapters, and so it's like at different levels of people really wanting to be a part, from like volunteering to organizations that want to partner with us. And so we try to focus really on what our priorities are, and at times that may mean like saying no to a partnership that may not be good at this time, right? Or turning down someone who wants to volunteer, because what we're looking for really is employees and like staff, right? And really want to make sure that we're also not wasting people's time. I think that's important too. Like the art of business is really important, and because we are starting at an early age, like tippity top, like there are no breaks, there are no excuses. It's really important that we put out what we want to get back, right? So that means answering emails as soon as they come in. That means really learning like what it is to negotiate when it comes to business. All these things that we had to learn very quickly because of the way that people were really interested in getting involved in Webeleive.
I'm curious because you did say that you're recently going to graduate college.
Yes.
How old are you? Doing all
question.
that.
So I'm 21.
Guys, people, she is 21. You are like way in front of your time. That's amazing.
Yeah, no, I've gotten that a lot, and I think that it's funny in a way, just because I think that women of color in general and Black women in particular have to grow up very quickly, right? Because of like the society that we live in. And for me, I think it was that exposure to what that looks like, right? Being first generation American. My mother, I was raised by a single mom, one of 6 kids, one of 5 girls, right? So really at an early age, understanding like what struggle looks like, what sacrifice looks like, what all of these systems that really hold back the potential of so many, what that looks like at like base value, right? But also very intimately. And so for me, when I got into spaces like Columbia University, when I started getting exposed to all of these resources that were out there that were trying to essentially help communities, right? But you really need to be able to learn how to tap into them. At an early age, I was like, I want to tap into this because I want to create change because I see this as a problem, right? And so I started getting involved with a nonprofit organization, well, really an NGO that's based out of DC. It was founded by Hillary Clinton after the Beijing conference that she did in 1994. And they were the ones who really invested in my leadership abilities. They flew me out to DC to participate in a 3-day conference when I was in high school. They were the first ones that flew me out internationally. I went to Burma for a women's leadership conference for about 2 weeks when I was in high school. And so from there, it was just like taking advantage of opportunities to continue to build those skills. And because I had people always around me affirming me, like, oh, Chelsea, like, you're going to go on to do great things, right? Like, that affirmation is important. Like, at times, even when I didn't believe in myself, there were people that believed in me. And so that's why I think that even Webeleive is so important, right? Because you never know whose life you are impacting, and you never know like the trickle effect of the change that you're creating. So it's exciting. And I think with all of this comes a lot of responsibility and just being like cognizant of that. And so I do a really good job of just trying to remain grounded. I don't really let things get to my head. I don't care about titles. That was another thing that was so funny because I was at the prison yesterday because I was giving a talk to the inmates. And one of my mentees, who's a part of the Webeleive St. Rose chapter, she came and she was like, Chelsea, like, what do you want me to call you? Like, do you want me to call you like CEO, founder, whatever? And I'm just like, I don't care. Like, say whatever you want. You know, like, it doesn't matter to me because that's not what's important. Like, at the end of the day, if you're not putting in the work, then like titles don't matter. If you're not putting in the energy, if you're not creating the impact, if your organization's not sustainable, like titles don't matter, likes don't matter, like none of it matters, right? So for me, it's really trying to figure out what is the tangible, and so like those things aren't important to me. And so the only person that I really try to hold to that standard and whose like expectations I try to reach is my own, and like setting those. And so when you're like, oh, like you're young, I'm like, yeah, but also at the same time, like I've had to grow up at a very early age, and I really try to make sure that I'm accountable, and if I say that I'm going to do something, doing it. And so I think that's why there has been like this like early success, if you will. And I don't even like to call it success, but like this early like accountability that then kind of like breeds results, you know, and just trying to like stay true to that.
I'm blown away. I am blown away. How do you balance being a businesswoman, being in college, having a personal life, a dating life, friends, family? How do you balance it all?
Yeah. So I was in a relationship for 2.5 years during my college experience. So for me, it wasn't necessarily a challenge at the beginning versus like now, of course, like being single and of course wanting to spend more time with friends and all of that and going out. And so the balance really comes in, and I would say just keeping your personal life personal. And I've always been this way. I've never like dated guys that my friends would know because I'm just like, I don't like people in my business. And so I think it works now, of course, like in the social media age, because it's like, if I don't want people to know, like I just don't have to put it out there, right? And I definitely think you could live your best life, but just be strategic about how you live that, right? And I always, like whenever I'm going out, I'm just like, whatever I'm doing, what is the cost, right? The cost of my brand, the cost of my image. If I'm with my friends, I'm having a good time, okay, great. But like, am I posting that on social media? Like, why? Why is that necessary, right? But also it's a kind of a tension because I also do want people to understand that you can do that, right? You don't have to be one-dimensional. You don't just have to like post motivational stuff and talk about your brand, talk about your career all the time. You can show that other side of you. And so I definitely do that, but just again, like in a way that still aligns with my brand. And anyone that I'm dating is aware of that brand and understands that if your image and what you're working towards doesn't align with that, then it's a no-go. It's a no-go.
That is so. It's so interesting you said it like that, because right now we're in a space like I recently had an interview, and of the owner of Boss Mag.
Okay.
And she mentioned something which is really true. Like, we are in a space kind of like, if you are not creating content, you're not putting yourself out there on social media, you're kind of like non-existent. And you're able to keep that balance as far as like very strategically in what you put out there. Strategically, like, you know what, you could know, but you don't have to know everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that,
you don't have to know everything. And again, I just think it's important to surround yourself with people who also have that mindset, right? And understand that you aren't your brand, which is why I love old-time friends. I'm like, hold on to them, because those are the people who've seen you before. Like, you are your brand. You know, they've seen you in the early stages of that, have supported your vision. And, like, you never want to lose touch with, like, those type of relationships, because they keep you grounded. You know?
Of course.
That's important.
But how do you keep yourself grounded with your friends? Because I'm pretty sure your friends sometimes see your changes, where it's kind of like the normal things you used to do. You're like, I can't do that. I got a meeting in the morning. I have to go out of state tomorrow. I have to do this. I have to do that. So how do you keep those relationships?
So again, like, most of my friends also have businesses, right? Also have platforms, are like public figures, are like doing incredible work, and so it's easy in the sense that your network is your net worth. You spend a lot of time around the people who are essentially like, you know, embodiments of you and like what you value. And so it's very easy. It's very easy. And I haven't been out in a minute. And I already tell people that, like, my calendar, right, is like very seasonal, in the sense that right now, because we're in the middle of like expansion, bringing on our board, there's not a lot that I can do outside of that. But when May comes, when June, like when it's summer season, like, hit me up, because we're going to be out here. So it's just finding that balance, and like, they understand and they're cool with it. And some of my friends are in relationships also, so like, they don't be having time either. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. So yeah, it works. And some of my friends, I've known them for going on like 8 years, right? And they come out and they support, they spread the word about the organization. I have friends who are part of the organization. My best friend is my co-founder. So, like, it works. It works easily.
That is beautiful. Well, what does success mean to you?
Ooh, that's a great question. So, I have gone through so many iterations of this, but I would say success for me is the ability to know that you've made a difference. Like, most of my heroes growing up have been like Martin Luther King, right? Have been Malcolm X, have been Assata Shakur, have been like all of these different people who have like stood for something. Maya Angelou, right? Like, have really created an incredible change. And I think just as I've gotten older, though, what I realized is that a lot of our heroes, they weren't heroes when they were here, right? Like, they faced so much resistance. They faced so much sleepless nights of figuring it out. And they faced a lot of opposition, you know? And even down to Martin Luther King, who everyone loves to quote nowadays, like, there were literally, like, state-sanctioned violence that was perpetrated against him and his family. Like, there were people who were calling his house, right, calling his wife, saying that your husband is cheating on you. Like, all of this, like, mental and physical, just, like, attacks that came on with the fact that he was creating change. Nelson Mandela, he was jailed, he was imprisoned, right, like, separated from his family. And so, for me, success is the ability to understand that, like, success right now may not look like the success that you dream of, right? And so success for me isn't on an individual level, because it can't be. It can't be, because I know that I'm human, right? And as human, there is going to be that opposition, but what is the success that you dream of? And I think that's that communal aspect, right? And like really affirming that like success is beyond even what you can visualize and see. And success is the ability to know that you're creating that change and creating that lasting change. And so I'm a Jackie Robinson scholar, for instance, and the Jackie Robinson Foundation was created after Jackie Robinson passed away by Rachel Robinson, his wife. And all the time, whenever we go to our conferences, whenever we're at meetings, you know, they say a life isn't important except the impact it has on other lives. And so even Jackie Robinson, how much he went through to like break the color barrier, right, in baseball. And seeing that like this foundation isn't something that he saw during his lifetime, but look at it, just impacting and changing lives and the amount of people it has been able to touch and that legacy. I think to me, success is your legacy and understanding that like maybe you won't see that. So I have mentors who are former members of the Black Panther Party, right? And like the world looks differently now from that time, but like the idea of Black liberation and resistance and fighting, like that's still continuing, but like manifesting in different ways. And after obviously like the collapse of the Black Panther Party, they had to figure out what does success look like? What does it look like in terms of like creating change in your community? What does it look like on a personal level? And now they're doing that work through like academia, through being a part of community development boards in their communities, right? Really trying to do like urban revitalization during education. So I mean, it's kind of like you can't really think about self a lot of times when you're trying to measure success as far as like the culture and like creating change. You kind of have to do it as it comes, right? And just like being able to again like be humble in that process of that growth, because what tends to happen is that if you get stuck on this very one-dimensional definition of success, then you'll develop a lot of regrets, right? You'll develop a lot of anger, resentment. You'll feel like you didn't have an impact when that's not true, right? And so you kind of just have to be able to be flexible and like be okay with that like constantly changing and like understanding that you may not see it and like that's okay too.
That's really beautifully said. Because it's so funny because it's like people nowadays, you can say a lot of markets are getting oversaturated. And the people who are not getting noticed, they could easily, some of them easily fall into there. That's why sometimes you see some people post some things online where it sounds like they're hating on another platform. And it's like, no, don't do that. Like, remember what you started for and just remember your message. Your message is your message. It's different from any other platform. So just keep going in that route.
Keep going, exactly. And you never know when your time is going to be too. That's another thing. So I tell people, like, do not compare yourself to no one, nobody. Because once you think about it, someone can be working for 10 years to perfect their craft, right? And then when they come out with a project, they come out with a service, because they spent that 10 years perfecting their craft, they're now number one, right, in their industry, in their field. But you can start today and you look at that person and you're like, oh, like they're not doing anything. That's not true. Like, respect your process. Like, everyone's process is different. And so you may think that like you're number one today and like 10 years from now that could look very different, right? And vice versa. And so it's being able to like, again, that humility piece and that growth and like being open to collaborating with people and working with them, because it's like you never know when you're going to need someone. Just because people need you right now, that doesn't mean that the roles can't switch very quickly. And so being mindful of that. So that's really important too. Like, treat people how you want to be treated, and also like continue to stay on your grind, whatever that grind is, whatever that field is that you're working in.
So you just heard it from Chelsea Miller herself, co-founder of the amazing woman organization named Webeleive, Renaissance woman. From clearly can you see, because at 21 she is making it happen. So what should we expect from you this year? I know you said you're working on a new website, of course.
So we're working on our website where we'll be creating membership opportunities. Our goal is to reach 20,000 women. We're expanding to 30 universities this year. We're expanding our team. We're going to have...
When you say 30 universities, do you mean you want 30 additional chapters?
Yeah, 30 additional chapters. So right now at 13. So our goal is to be at 100 college campuses by 2020. And so we've done it through like a staggered process, right? Of first 3, then 10, then 30. And so 2019 we'll be taking in 50 additional chapters, right? To reach that goal of 100.
Well, if they want, what do you have certain schools you're going to, or you're going to release all that information on your website?
So the application is rolling, and so if you're at your university and this is something that you're interested in getting involved in, developing your leadership skills, your professional skills, getting access to internship opportunities, job opportunities, communities that are uplifting you, then just go onto our website, www.webeleive.nyc, and the application is there.
Yes. And how soon? Is there a specific deadline, or is it an ongoing
Not
application?
necessarily. Our goal is to start doing interviews by late May. So if applications come in by then it's fine. But also, it's of course like rolling, so we may have to cut it off earlier.
Well, now you know. If you are interested in joining We Believe and learning more about it, go to their website, as Chelsea said, www.webelieve.nyc. So my name is Andrea. I just spoke with Chelsea Miller, and we'll see you next time. Every Tuesday we come out with new episodes, and talk to you soon.